Welcome to the Sensory and Power podcast. I'm Bethany, your host. I'm a holistic occupational therapist with over a decade of experience in supporting individuals helping to transform their world through sensory empowerment. This podcast is your guide to the transformative world of sensory storytelling, holistic tools, and empowerment strategies. Welcome to this episode, Sensory and Power. I'm so excited to dive into something that I'm really passionate about, and this is co-regulation. I really feel like it's such a profound way to just think about connection. So it really can help foster some strong bonds. We can really build this self-awareness, this deep self-compassion, but also this beautiful compassion towards others. So as we go and dive into connections and compassion on this podcast, I'm going to go ahead and explore some very powerful elements that help build strong and compassionate relationships and connections. I'm really excited to talk about the power of co-regulation. I frequently have the opportunity to get to observe a lot of powerful co-regulators. And when I see someone who is a powerful co-regulator, there is a generally more calm demeanor about their energy signature, and their presence just kind of helps to regulate the room. That is the power of co-regulation. So they may, be really working on taking deep breaths, maybe subconsciously. They're already presenting as a very regulated body presentation. Maybe their voice is a little bit more just kind of neutral versus having it be louder and faster. It just remains more in a neutral state. So as we kind of think about how can we cultivate co-regulation, how can we think about co-regulation to strengthen bonds and build some really cool connections with others around us, I really am so excited to kind of talk about that power of one person's nervous system supporting and helping to regulate another person's nervous system. So it's this beautiful dance back and forth, this almost like mutual regulation that often occurs, between a parent and child, between partners, between friends, or even coworkers at work. And so when we think about kind of this maybe foundational understanding of co-regulation, we kind of imagine a parent soothing a crying baby. And so the parents, calm presence, their gentle voice, maybe they have like shh, 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 kind of more repetitious sounds that are very neutral, very calming. And we get to then kind of see how this touch and this support with either the deep pressure, the just energy that they're bringing to the relationship can really help to start regulate the baby's own emotions and their ability to kind of self-regulate and have more of a calm nervous system. So this whole interaction of one nervous system helping to support another nervous system is this essence of co-regulation. It's a really foundational component of healthy emotional development and plays a very crucial role in building strong and secure bonds. So why is co-regulation so important? I think awareness, I always try to reference awareness as, step number one. Can we bring this awareness to the power of this tool? When we co-regulate, we're then allowing almost like a template copy for others to support their own emotional regulation. So, for example, with kids, there might be some moments where we get to provide examples. We get to then teach how to manage our own emotions over time, and it can help with others around you to start to identify, oh yeah, that's that emotion, I'm identifying it. And it can help to foster this sense of safety and trust within relationships when the emotion that is verbalized is the emotion that is presented. So this kind of gives that example of, if for you, for example, a parent is like, I'm fine, and they're, gritting their teeth, and the actual presentation of facial expressions, the presentation of body rigidity. Their muscles may be tight, or they're breathing faster, or they definitely look like they're upset, but they're verbalizing something that does not match. That can definitely bring in some confusion for the observer, especially a child who's trying to learn emotions. And so standing in truth, gosh, I'm feeling upset right now. These are the things that I think I'm going to use to calm my body down. Those are some things that I work with parents when I'm coaching and working with my clients, of just kind of being able to calmly verbalize how we're feeling and giving those beautiful examples like, gosh, I'm feeling this way, but it's okay. I know that I can go, take some deep breaths. I'm going to go get a drink of water. Maybe I'm going to go get a soda water from the fridge, and that bubbly sensation, it's going to help me calm down. That's something that's really, I'm going to take this action step, and giving those examples of those action steps, and then the cause and effect of, now I'm feeling so much better. And just kind of talking through that whole process. It is the truth. It is clear. It is vocalized, and it is demonstrated where body matches what is actually occurring. Body is matching voice. And when we think about kind of just this approach to others with compassion, really thinking about acknowledging their feelings without any judgment. This really creates a beautiful environment where others feel understood and valued, and trust, right? This huge piece with trust, which is definitely essential for effective co-regulation. So we're going to dive a little bit more into, how can we practice co-regulation in our daily lives? I think the first one that I always love to think about is presence. So being fully present, we're mindfully aware, we are putting away distractions, we're making eye contact, we're truly listening. Maybe there's those responses where we're nodding our head or repeating back or asking a question about something that someone just shared. These presence signals, they really provide cues of safety for our body. And it helps other people feel seen, heard, and then feel safe, which ultimately can support their nervous system being more grounded, more regulated, and just more connected to the present moment because of this beautiful presence. This holding of space is another beautiful phrase that I like to use. So when we think about holding of space, I really consider neutrality. There might be a lot of intensities happening, and I'm holding space. I'm remaining neutral as much as possible, and being able to just kind of breathe, share eye contact, maybe some, a gentle, touch on the shoulder or a hand squeeze, if that's appropriate, and would be supportive. I think there's power in that therapeutic use of touch, definitely in those moments, especially, when there's a lot of heavy things happening in the world and many people going through a lot of grief. So I think it can be a very powerful way to just kind of consider co-regulation and moving into co-regulation with this power of being fully present to help them with this co-regulation piece. A second piece that I really love to use is breathing. So breathing together can be incredibly calming, very, very regulating for our nervous system. So if we, as the co-regulator, supporter of someone who might be dysregulated or feeling overwhelmed, can start to model some slower breathing, some deeper breathing, maybe some belly breathing. This not only helps to regulate our own nervous system to stay in this calm, neutral state of supporting someone, but it also encourages this like mirror neuron effect, which is the coolest thing in the whole world. I might do a whole podcast episode just on mirror neurons because they're fascinating. So our body being able to observe another body modeling something. A lot of times our body gets to imitate. There's an imitation piece that comes out, and it really starts to encourage matching of the rhythm, which promotes this beautiful sense of calm and can really, really powerfully support moving more into that parasympathetic nervous system if we've modeled and then have helped to encourage some of those very lovely deep breaths. We talked a little bit about listening. So we're going to dive a little bit more into, what is empathetic listening? So empathetic listening is really this beautiful ability to be a wonderful listener and being able to reflect back what the other person is saying. So phrases such as like, oh, I hear what you're really upset about. There's a validation piece. If someone is expressing, I'm holding space for you. Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. Even those short "I'm here," those short phrases can really validate those emotions that are being present and really just show that you are turned into and listening to their experience with this beautiful empathetic listening of reflecting back. So that is a consideration. I use this a lot when I am working with overwhelmed clients. So, okay, it sounds, I hear what you're saying. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? I'm here, I'm listening. Those sorts of phrases, I feel like, really cultivate a very beautiful, safe space that then can open up even more of this connection and bond. So I am grateful to be a highly sensitive person. It has, boy, has it taken some time to get to receiving gratitude. I think there's been so many moments in my life where I have felt that this was a superpower, but it was an overwhelming superpower that I needed to figure out how to just think about it. How do I step forth and not take something on and not take it away with me? So working on my own boundaries and working on, releasing the energy at the end of the day if I've had a really busy day. Making sure that it's, I'm not having these dwelling moments where I'm, repeatedly, reviewing the situation in my brain. So some really lovely ways of just kind of considering boundaries is like a visualization of the door closing. So as I'm walking out, I'm visualizing, or I'm actually closing the door. Okay, I leave whatever might be attached to me here, and this is not mine to carry with me. What yours is yours, and what mine is mine, and I now release this. So I know that I can continue to be a very powerful healer in many ways, of being able to hold beautiful space, but not have it completely fatigue my own nervous system by holding space. So through the years and through many practices of setting up boundaries, I feel like I have gotten into an opportunity to very much reflect on the power of being a deeply empathic person and a highly sensitive person, and some really beautiful opportunities that I've had lately with some younger clients that I'm working with. One in particular has had a deep reflection about feeling other people's pain, and this is something I too have experienced in my life, and the connections that I have with people in my life and feeling their pain, and sometimes this visualization of blocking so it doesn't make me physically ill, and how to kind of move through that and see being a deeply empathic person as a way to become a super co-regulator. So that's been a really, really exciting and very fun adventure to just kind of talk through with my client as she starts to learn more about the power of being a highly sensitive person. When we think about gentle touch, this is another one I briefly mentioned, but I'll dive a little bit more into it. I think there's just so much power in physical reassurance. So this ability to maybe recognize, a gentle pat on the back or a touch on the shoulder or holding of a hand. It really, from like a nervous system level, as long as that person is open to touch. Of course, there's tactile sensitivities in play. If there's someone who you initiate a hand outward and maybe, to touch their shoulder or to kind of like squeeze their hand, and they're retracting, those are the signs that that nervous system is not quite ready for that. And there might be some tactile sensitivities at play there. But these are just some considerations to just recognize that gentle touch can be very, very soothing for the nervous system. It can also be very grounding. So if someone is having big emotions and they're kind of floating and they're kind of disconnected from their body, this beautiful tactile, like I'm squeezing your hand and you're here with me now, your hand is right here. It helps with this body awareness and this feeling grounded in the present moment. So there is a very powerful way of using gentle touch. Of course, each situation is going to be very different, but those are just some considerations. And then how can we use and kind of utilize the power of a calming environment? So the environment can really play a huge role in co-regulation. So are there ways where we, as the super co-regulator in the situation, can start to make a more calming environment around us? So are there ways to dim the lights or have more natural lighting? Are there ways where we can reduce the noise? Is there a background fan that's kind of way too loud? That's been a situation recently where we needed to just fully take over the environment and make sure we were facilitating a regulation space versus having these loud fans in the background and trying to talk over the fans. Those are always a consideration, especially as we're moving into warmer months. Those are always a consideration of things that might be overwhelming for our nervous system. We've got this just background high-pitched electronic noise. So as we start to create this beautiful space and this more calmer environment, it really facilitates a piece of safety and inviting into this present moment. Really helps to help everyone feel more at ease and really, really support the process of regulation for all. So when we think about these beautiful real life scenarios that I've kind of shared as some examples of, using these strategies and putting them into action, let's kind of maybe think about eye level as well. So if you are supporting a child, when you're first sitting down with them, I really encourage, as long as your body is safe, being at their eye level. So putting any distractions away, you're focusing on them, showing that you're fully present, and you might be really in that state of just, I'm here. Very short phrases if they're very upset. There might be some other phrases that you can use, such as, do you want to talk about what happened? Let's take a few big, deep breaths and see if it can help us feel a little bit calmer. Giving some of those examples, offering, do you want me to give you a hug? Is there an option to maybe squeeze hands? And by really providing these examples of this compassion and support, you're really helping to build and support them with regulating their emotions. So teaching these super powerful skills for managing stress and therefore strengthening this beautiful bond. When we think about in adult relationships, co-regulation might look like taking a walk together to clear your mind, deep breathing during stressful moments, or simply just being there and listening and offering this beautiful reassuring presence of I am here, I am present. And just remember that, co-regulation is a two-way street. So by regulating ourselves, we can then best support the regulation of others around us. So how can we deeply practice this ability to stay in a state of calm, to allow this energetic calm to support others? So this might be, practicing self-care. I have a membership community where I teach a lot of mindfulness and some powerful self-regulation strategies like EFT tapping and somatic release and breath work. And these are some really fun ways where we can kind of build in practice opportunities to build in our own ability to maintain a state of composure, to then best support composure of others. So if you are interested, the membership program is called Sensory Self-Care, and we meet monthly on Zoom, and there is a whole robust library of resource videos, some 3 minutes to 5 minutes, where you can go in and have a quick link. Okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed, maybe my heart is starting to race. Let me go ahead and go in, I'm going to do a quick tapping session on releasing overwhelm. Or I'm going to go ahead, I'm feeling a little dysregulated, I'm going to go in and listen to this 4 or 5 minute meditation and see if that is something that can help to connect you back into the present moment. So if you're interested in joining with building in this connection and compassion, please email me. I would really love to support Bethany at sensoryempower.com. Thank you so much for joining me today as we dove into connections and compassion with the use of the power of co-regulation. I hope that these insights were helpful and maybe inspiring. And if you've really enjoyed this episode, please go ahead and share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe for more discussions on building compassionate relationships from a sensory empowerment lens. Until then, take care and remember the power of connection. Thank you for joining me on this sensory adventure through Sensory Empower, the podcast. Remember, empowerment begins with awakening your senses. Subscribe now and embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation. Until next time, may your senses guide you towards a life filled with peace, joy, and empowerment. Because true empowerment begins with embracing your senses. On this sensory adventure through Sensory Empower, the podcast. Remember, empowerment begins with awakening your senses. Subscribe now and embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation. Until next time, may your senses guide you towards a life filled with peace, joy, and empowerment. Because true empowerment begins with embracing your senses.